Hello, and welcome to this episode of The Great Detour. Today, we're talking about careers, transitions, journeys, detours, all of it. I think this is something that's top of mind for a lot of us right now. The pandemic has really forced us to look at our values and priorities, and I think in turn has changed the way we approach our jobs and what we're looking to get out of them. With me in this conversation, I have an incredible career coach, Diamond Mullings, and we cover a lot of territory in this episode, from career pivots that happen by choice, those that happen by force, and how we can just better embrace those journeys and allow them to strengthen us and prepare us for whatever may be next. So whether you're looking for a job, uncertain about the one you're in, or just approaching your career with intentionality, I think you'll get a lot out of this episode. Welcome to the Great Detour podcast. I'm your host, Jess. If there's one thing I've learned about life, it's that it's full of twists and turns, and oftentimes a pretty big detour, or two. Sometimes these unexpected paths lead us to a life better than we ever imagined, and other times they give us the hardest lessons we never wanted to learn. But almost always, they leave us changed. Join me and my guests as we explore life's unplanned paths and learn from stories of growth, resilience, and transformation. Okay, well, let's get down to business. I am thrilled to have with me today career coach and CEO of Tailor Made Growth, Diamond Mullings. Diamond, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I can hear the applause, and I know you're gonna, soundbite it. No pressure.
Exactly. I know, no pressure, right? I'm really excited to be talking about coaching today because I personally am a huge fan of coaching, but I think it's something that a lot of people sleep on, to be honest with you.
Absolutely.
But through the years, I have taken advantage of coaching in a variety of different ways. I've done fitness coaches, I've had a life coach at one point, and right now I'm actually using a communications coach to help me be a more efficient communicator on this podcast, in my work life. So I think it's an invaluable asset when you're really looking to grow and improve yourself. And it's nice having somebody who's unbiased, who knows your goals and what you're trying to achieve in life, and they can look at you, see your strengths, help you to play those up, and also see the areas where you might have blind spots or weaknesses and really help you to grow and get to where you want to go along your life's journey. So what I want to talk about today is a lot of the transitions and pivots that happen in careers, because obviously you're an expert on careers and coaching people to reach their goals in their careers. But, every coach has their niche and their area of focus. So I'd love for you to start off by telling us a little bit about you and about Tailor Made Growth and what you're helping your clients with.
Absolutely. So I love the word expert, but that is so heavy. That is so heavy, and it makes me feel like there's nothing left for me to learn. And I am definitely not there. And I don't think I ever want to be there, honestly. But I like to pretty much coin myself as someone who is able to meet people where they are, no matter like where they are within that career journey, whether it's your first time trying to enter into the workforce, or you've been in the workforce, or the different levels that you could find yourself within the workforce. You could be on the C-suites, right? You could be the managerial level, or whatever. You could be the employee who has the manager. So I just try to meet people where they exactly are and get them to the next level that they want to get to, right? And sometimes that next level is just clarity. It may not be a complete title change or role change, right? It's just a little bit better understanding of self. And that is a new level. And so, again, we are here, and I say we because I do hope Tailor Made Growth can grow into a organization that has multiple coach and just different experts in different areas, right? And I'm sure you'll get into that a little bit later, because we do like to have a more holistic approach. So we try not to just focus on careers. Another goal of Tailor Made Growth is to increase the amount of access our community members has to high performing lives. And a career and having a well-suited career is very essential in high performance, right? Or having a high-performing life is what we like to call it. But then there's other factors like your health and things of that nature. So I do hope to grow Tailor Made Growth into having those experts who can really drive those other key factors in the whole self, right? Right
Hmm.
now, I'm driving the career point, and that's what I am here to support people in, achieving those career goals, achieving that next level in their career. That's my expertise, but I'm looking forward to the future where we have our health and wellness person and um, our
Hmm.
resource person, like the community resource person, and which kind of allows me to kind of like describe our demographic. It's really anyone and everyone. Again, anyone who's trying to level up. Um, that's who we are trying to meet and
That's
help.
incredible. And I
Yeah.
love the health and wellness angle. That one really jumped out to me as a differentiator for you. I
Right.
think so often we're so focused on one aspect of our journey or our goal, and we're fixated on that, but we forget to look at the big picture and how the mind and the body and all of that works together. And
Uh
I
huh.
think when you're tapping into all those different resources, ultimately it makes you better and it really sets you up for success in a lot of different ways. So I think that's so smart of you to take that holistic approach and approach it from a mind body perspective and not
Right.
just, oh, this is career. Like I am a person,
Yes.
but I also have
Yes.
more to me than just this job. So,
Right. And I'm glad that you put it that way because my hope is that organizations will have that same understanding as
mhm.
well. And because some people are spending like 10 hours in this building that we
Yes.
call work.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it'd be nice. And there's a lot of organizations and companies who do have that understanding. And that's why you could go to work and you may have like a smoothie bar or,
Hmm.
something that's actually feeding your body as
Hmm.
well. So my hope is that more companies will adopt that mindset of looking at this employee as a human in front of you, right? And we all know
Exactly.
what humans need, right?
Hmm.
And so yeah, I love the fact that you highlighted that.
Yeah, no, I think it's so important. It's a reminder to me too, even as I'm trying to balance my corporate job with this podcast. So many days I realize, oh my gosh, I didn't eat yet today and I
Mm-hmm.
didn't drink water. And
Mm-hmm.
it's a reminder that you need to take care of yourself too,
Yep.
because if you're not operating at optimal, at your optimal point, then you're not going to do a good job in your career or your hobby or whatever it is. So
Exactly.
it's a great reminder of that.
Exactly. You got it.
Yeah, definitely. So let's get into it a little bit. So I want to start, this podcast is all about transitions and detours. And I've been noticing, I don't know if you noticed this too, but a lot of people right now, I feel like, are really reevaluating their careers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's something that's happened post COVID where people are reevaluating their values and their priorities, but I
Mm-hmm.
feel a lot of just like collective restlessness from people, whether they want to change the jobs that they're in or jump to another level or do
Right.
something different with themselves. So
Hmm.
my question to you is for somebody who's starting to feel those rumblings and
Mm-hmm.
maybe wants to make a change but doesn't know where the heck to start, like what advice would you
Mm.
give them?
I love that. Great question. And it leads me right into a point that I really try to express in almost every session, every session with someone who's in that state that you just described. So this is what I try to call like pivoting by choice, right? So you come to that realization of restlessness, right? Or maybe you come to this like self-awareness of this is just not working for me anymore, whether this is not serving me anymore, whatever that realization, whatever that feeling of awakening is, that is when it's a beautiful moment. And that is when you have to start being strategic about your exit game and how you're going to choose to exit, right? So, or how you're going to choose to pivot. You brought up the pandemic, and that was a huge pivot for the entire world,
Hmm.
right? Um, and I feel like what the pandemic did was allow us to prioritize, and it forced us, not allow us, it literally forced us to
Hmm.
really like look at what we truly care about, what really matters,
Yep.
right? Who's putting us first?
Hmm.
Um, period. Like who's putting us first, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And are you putting yourself first before
Hmm.
you actually look to someone else to put you first, right? Have you
Yeah.
been putting yourself first? So I feel like a lot of the pandemic like forced us to answer and come to grips with a lot of those questions and
Hmm.
answers. Um, and to your point, a lot of people did, come to the answer of, I don't feel like I've been put first, or I've been putting myself first.
Hmm.
I don't think I'm happy in this career right now, right?
Yeah.
I don't think this career is serving me, or this where I am right now in life. This just isn't it. And so what do we do next, right? Just know it and I'm going to try to keep it career based, because that's, again, but it's so easy to like slip into
Slip into whatever you want, girl.
anything.
Go for
We're
it. We
talking
talk
about the
about
pandemic
all
right
the
now.
things here. Yeah. But it's all connected because,
And it's
like you
all
said, like with
connected.
the holistic approach, we're not just this one thing. We're so many things. And I feel like we
Right.
have to bring our whole selves to work and everything we do. So,
Exactly. So I just want to spend some time talking about those next steps that you should take
sure.
once you come to that realization that I want to take next steps to exit, right? In a
Hmm.
career um scenario. So again,
Also, I just want to say I love
yes.
that you called it an awakening because I had a recent conversation with somebody, and I was just like, I feel like I was meant for more than this. And he said, I feel like
Uh,
you're having a midlife crisis, and I said, I feel like I'm having a midlife awakening, to be honest
exactly.
with you,
Yeah, I love that
because
reframing.
right, yeah, because I feel like when you're in that spot when you realize my job's not serving me anymore, I'm not
Right.
loving this, it can be a very sobering moment, and you can feel a
Mm-hmm.
little bit scared and helpless, I
Mm-hmm.
think. But I love that you framed it as an awakening because it could also be like most detours, like, okay, I wasn't wanting to feel this way. I wasn't planning this, but it opens new doors and new possibilities, and there's so much that can come from it. So I think
Right.
that's a great way to view it when you're starting to get those heavy feelings like, okay, maybe I'm waking up to a new version of myself, a new level
Exactly.
of growth. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So some next steps in the career aspect, right? I really encourage my clients, and I encourage your audience to reflect on what you're trying to get away from. What brought
Mm-hmm.
you here? Was it multiple mistakes, maybe, in our role, whatever role that may be? Did we find ourselves in a lot of corrective actioning conversations, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now we're realizing, like, maybe this is not what's meant for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or was it a lot of like bad experiences? But just figure out, what are you trying to avoid? Figure out why you're trying to avoid that. Is it a lack of skill set?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it just something more internal, something like more like your values are clashing?
Yeah.
I'm finding myself in a very high paced place, and I'm not a high paced kind of person,
Mm-hmm.
So again, figure out what you're trying to avoid and use that data to find your next steps,
Mm-hmm.
right? And not your next steps, but your next landing spot, your next career, your next job, and see how many of those things that you're trying to avoid is present in that next role. And if
Mm-hmm.
there's not a lot, then you may want to jump into that or just further dig into that, right? So that's that first thing, is figuring out, how did we get here? How did we get to this feeling of this is no longer serving me? And whatever answers comes from that, try to make sure that those answers are either not present in the next role.
Yeah.
So pretty much not present. And the flip side is starting to also figure out your skill set. So and the things that you actually did like about that previous role, right? So what were the
Yeah.
fun parts about it,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then again, using that data and trying to find the presence of those fun tasks or whatever it is in
Mm-hmm.
your next role. Is it, or when you're searching for your job, do you see these bullet points or skill sets mentioned in this role? Is it a priority for this role? And you're really good at that and you enjoyed it. So maybe this may work out for you. So that's the type of next step mindset I need you guys to have when
Mm-hmm.
you're, when you find yourself in this awakening and you're ready to, make a move. Let's do it with some strategy. And those are some questions that you could kind of
Mm-hmm.
ask yourself.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. And I think, I've experienced that too, where I've been with a company for a long time and I've shifted roles within that company over the years and I've
Mm-hmm.
tried new things and some of that has been great and I've realized,
Right.
oh, this is really cool. I like this. And others, I'm like, oh, this is not for me.
Right.
So but it was good data because I was always curious, like, would I like this department
Exactly.
and this function? And I tried it out and thought, oh, okay, I'm good without that. So I saw that I didn't like that. And it gives me information for whatever role I might want want next. So I think that's a really important point you make about just collecting the
Yes,
data, and also just not being afraid to get data that tells you you don't, you're not meant for something, or something just isn't a
exactly.
great fit for you.
Yes,
I think it's
yes.
important to learn.
Right. I love the amount of reframing that you're doing. That's all that I'm about to. Because sometimes these experiences, so this is going to lead me into my next point, which is when we have to pivot by force. Because sometimes these
Mm,
experiences are not by our own choosing, right?
yeah.
Sometimes we lose a job, or the company downsizes, and or whatever it is, or someone pushes us out the role. Like we have a
Yeah.
very confrontational um experience with our manager, and they don't want us here
Hmm.
anymore, right? So
Yeah.
sometimes we have to pivot or detour by force,
Hmm.
right?
Those are always hard ones too, because it's like, I
Yeah.
mean, detours are always hard because we don't ask for them; they just happen
Right.
to us. And sometimes they're
Right.
the greatest gifts we can ever have. But in the moment when it's happening, it
Right.
can be really, really hard to have hope that there's something positive on the other
Right.
side.
Right. And there goes that reframing that I was complimenting you about earlier, is
Oh,
that
thank my therapist.
you listen, who he or she, thank you, honestly, because you're doing such a good job every single time. Every single time. It's like it's very natural for you, and I love that. But yeah, so in those detours by force, right? There are different first steps that I would recommend.
Hmm.
Because right now it's kind of like the rug was kind of like pulled
Hmm.
from beneath us, right?
Yep.
And we weren't prepared for this. We did not choose this, and but we're here. And
Hmm.
so honestly, my first step, or my first recommendation for you, is to really assess your priorities. Um, and for a lot of us, our priorities are very like financial base.
Of course. Yeah.
As we grow and we become adults, those bills, we have different commitments, and those commitments many times look like bills and things like that.
Hmm.
And they don't stop. They're coming every single
Nope.
month, right?
Yeah.
So really assess your priority and understand that um, by you addressing those priorities, and again, if it's a financial priority, it doesn't necessarily mean that you are not going to be able to address your long-term goals. But
Hmm.
I have to be realistic with you guys, right? And I have to promote that we have to address our priorities.
Hmm.
And so, let's go back to pivoting by choice. And so say you want to make the choice to leave. I will also ask you to, let's reflect on our priorities, right?
Be responsible.
Exactly. Let's be responsible.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm
it's
never
hard.
going to be like, just quit, girl.
Yeah, yeah. I was going to ask you that too. Is there ever a situation where maybe somebody's in a really toxic work environment where
Hmm.
you would
Hmm.
advocate them for them to quit? But I guess you would say like there's a strategy that has to go along with that
Yes,
move.
yes, yes. I'm always going to advocate that that we're quitting. We're
Hmm.
quitting, right?
Yeah.
Um, we did not quit yet, but we're in this process of quitting.
Oh,
And
that's an interesting way. I just it just clicked what you meant. It's not like I'm quitting. It's the journey of
it's the
quitting. It's a
journey.
process. It's not like
Yeah.
I'm coming in tomorrow and just
And
handing in my resignation
exactly, exactly.
as much as I might want to.
Exactly. So I try to help them understand and have that understanding comfort them that,
Yes.
listen, you're quitting.
Yeah.
It's still happening,
Yeah.
but you got to show up tomorrow. Like we're
Yeah.
not, you do. And I need you to show up for at least like whatever it is, because we're going to plan it out. We're
Hmm.
going to try to figure it out, because it depends on what you're interested in. Different markets move a little bit faster, or different fields, I
Sure.
should say, different industries, right? Their hiring process could be very quick, or their turnover, whatever it is. So we really just have to like plan this out, but know
Hmm.
that you are quitting, have comfort in that. This is coming to the end. Like there's a light at the ending of that tunnel. We're working
Yeah.
towards it, right? And that's what your coach is there for, is to help you, support you through that journey of whether it's quitting, that journey of elevating, or going into a
Hmm.
new position, or and those two things could be the same thing. Like
Yeah.
we're quitting and going into a new
Hmm.
position, right? But my role is to help you, because it could be very scary.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
definitely.
trying to find like the fancy word for it, but it's just
No,
scary. It
it's
could,
so
yeah.
scary.
Mm-hmm.
how do you help your clients be patient and just deal with impatience? Because I think that's something
Mm-hmm.
that comes up a ton in this process. Because you really have
Right.
the job market, it's so hard. You have so much control. Like you really don't have any control. So how do you help your clients sit in the discomfort of not knowing and not
Hmm.
knowing how long they're going to be in that situation for? Yeah.
I try to be their cheerleader.
Yeah.
I try to be their cheerleader. I try to be their beacon of light because I know how my own brain could get and how easy it is to acknowledge all that's going wrong. Like it's
Hmm.
so easy.
Oh
We
yeah.
could spit that out so easily.
Hmm.
Oh my gosh. And then it would take me I'm speaking very personally and I can apply. I'm like, if I'm operating like this and I'm aware of all this
Yes.
knowledge and I've trained myself in all of this coaching and all of this, like, how to better interpret messages and action and whatever
Yeah.
I've done the development, and so if I'm still struggling with this, I can only imagine the person who doesn't care about coaching
Hmm.
or hasn't invested in coaching development, how
Yeah.
they're doing it, so but um it's so easy for us to acknowledge all that's going wrong, and I realize how difficult it is for us to highlight our own wins.
Hmm.
I journal quite often,
Oh,
and
I love
I
journaling. Yeah.
I love journaling too. It's the best. But I do notice myself struggling to recall my wins, and I intentionally make a
Mm.
section in my journal entries for, like, what did you do great this week?
Yeah.
Like, let's reflect on it. And it takes me, I literally have to sit there for a little bit and, like, and over time, I realized that I'm making my wins like the way that I'm
Hmm.
measuring them with too much, what's the word? Like, it has to be a really big win for me to
Yeah.
count it almost,
Hmm. Yeah.
Um,
I think we're conditioned to do that with careers. We're always looking for the next job or the next
right.
title or promotion. And you're at such a great point. We often forget to celebrate those small moments. Like in the beginning, you opened up with talking about just getting clarity. Like that's a huge thing.
A
That is a
huge
huge
win.
thing. Yeah. So I think just taking a moment to reflect on the small areas of growth and those small wins throughout the journey can
Right.
be really sustaining when
And
you're waiting for the next thing, I think.
exactly. And that's I try to be that person for, or just that friendly reminder for my
Hmm.
clients, honestly, because to your point, it is very scary. And sometimes like when you feel like you're drowning, it's hard to realize the life jackets that may be around you,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I try to, like, flash a light, like, hey, you did that really great. We submitted 3 applications in one day. Like,
Yeah. You got it
listen,
done.
you're working. Yeah, like,
Yeah.
you have to count it. And so that's one of the ways that I try to help them in that
Hmm.
impatient state.
Yeah.
I also try to just highlight the fact that action is important. Action is the most important thing that you could do right now. And so um action makes us feel better. Action in anything, like, even when it comes to physical development, right? You feel so
Hmm.
much better once you actually start the process
You just
versus
gotta
thinking
start.
about starting the process, right?
Hmm.
Or bashing yourself for not starting the process, or bashing yourself for being here. I let
Yeah.
myself get here, right? But I'm
Hmm.
like, all right, let's take action. And once we start to take action, it just feels so good. It just
It
feels good.
does.
We're moving. And so it's the
Hmm.
same thing with our careers. I know we're here right now, whether, again, we're detouring by force, or we lost our job, or we're here right now and we're detouring by choice. We have a job, but we don't like this job, right?
Hmm.
And maybe that is bringing up some, like, bad or negative emotions. Regardless, let's take action. Like,
Hmm.
let's figure it out and let's take those next steps. So that's another thing that I like to do when my clients are being or feeling impatient.
Yeah.
Let's get to work.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
think that's a great point. Action, I think keeping that momentum really can make a huge difference because I think when you're feeling low like that, it's so
Right.
easy to become stagnant. And then
Mm-hmm.
that stagnancy just kind of causes like just yucky emotions and just you feel depressed. You feel like you're not doing anything. And what is my life? So I
Right.
think, yeah, just having some forward momentum makes a huge difference. So that's a really great point.
Yep. I agree.
What do you feel about rebuilding confidence? Because I feel like when these unexpected changes happen, especially if you get fired, you get laid off,
Right.
that can be such a huge blow to your ego, and you might be like pretty laid low for a bit. So, what do you say to your clients who are maybe not feeling great about themselves and kind of doubting themselves. And how do they build that trust and that confidence in themselves again? Because it's a hard one.
It is a hard one. So when we're talking about confidence, to be confident in your career is also to be confident outside of your career, you know, and to be, and it's very, you may come across that person, that supervisor many times. It's a supervisor. It's like someone in the boss role, right? And they are very assertive. And some people may take that as confidence, but whatever. They could be assertive and or aggressive or just very, let's just stick with assertive. But at home, they're not like that. When there's that disconnect, you can also see the disconnect at work as well. Like that's when that assertiveness starts to look like aggressiveness.
Yeah.
Because
it's almost like they're overcompensating.
Yes, exactly. There you go. They're overcompensating. So when we talk about confidence, it's important that we look at it as like this, like, I don't know if I want to say a spectrum or just look at it as a circle. And there's different points along this circle. Our career is one of them. But what are those other things too that are important to you that you know you need to be confident in order to be the best at? Or not the best at, I'm sorry, in order to just be the best version of you, right?
Yeah.
In that area. A lot of us care about our families. Some of us are moms, some of us are dads. And I that's probably important to you, right?
Yeah.
And so how confident are you in that area? If you feel like you are, and I hope that you are, if we're able to identify the different areas that we do have bigger confidence in, my suggestion or what I would do in this session is to just highlight that and congratulate that, you know, and realize that no one's perfect. We're not going to be excellent in every single area, but you're a really great dad. Like your kids love you, you know?
Yeah.
And why do they love you?
And those skills translate.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
I said, why do they love you? Why do they love you? Do they say like, you always like take the time out to talk to me and we or whatever it is. And now think about just those reasons why your kids love you. Think about which one of those things that you could, or skills that you could transfer into your career, right? Say you're really great at maintaining your physical development, your physique, right? You look great, right? How did you get there? Did it take a little bit of determination, commitment, consistency? Break those things down and see that you can transfer that into your career as well. So just looking at confidence as like I said, a spectrum. There's just different areas of confidence, and being able to reflect on all of those areas that are important to us, and then look at how is our confidence in those areas, and then using that understanding to kind of help build up other areas, right? Using the data that we get from this area that I'm super confident in, let's get some data from that and let's transfer that data over here, and let's build our confidence over here. That's kind of what I would do. Yeah, we would walk through that.
Yeah, no, I think that's so incredible, and I love that thought process, because this is something I've been thinking about a lot recently, because I've had an internal shift. But I think so often and I've done this myself too, make our careers and our jobs part of our identity. So I am Jess, I work at X Fortune 500 and I have this title.
Right.
But tomorrow that could be gone. And then who the heck am I without that? And it's a full-blown identity crisis.
Right.
And so the way I try to think about myself as far as like jobs and career-wise, I used to say, I used to attach myself to this company, this title. Now I think I'm Jess. I'm a brand marketer. I'm a storyteller. I'm a creative thinker or problem solver. Those are things that can't be taken away from me. And I think that's what you were just saying with those qualities, like whether, it's determination or, being a dad, like those qualities that come along with that transfer to jobs, to titles. It doesn't matter. And nobody can strip you of those.
Right.
Whereas your job can just give you the boot and that's gone. So I think
vice versa. You could also leave too.
Exactly. Yeah,
right?
You could leave as well.
You don't have to stay there.
Yeah, so I think it's an interesting way to think about like how you think of your identity as it pertains to your career.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. What advice would you give to somebody who maybe is in the midst of a detour, but
Mhm.
it's feeling like a dead end. And they're just really, really
Hmm.
discouraged.
Talk to someone. And if it's not a coach, just find someone to talk to,
Mhm.
honestly. Because it's important for us to like flesh out our thoughts and flesh out our thoughts and our ideas. I'm not gonna lie, AI is really great.
Mm.
AI is really great. And people are always like, aren't you nervous to bring up AI? Don't you think they're gonna? And I'm like, honestly, no, I'm not nervous. I tell people that you have a higher chance of losing your job to someone who knows how to utilize AI versus
Mhm.
losing your job to AI itself, you know?
Yes. Yeah.
Um, so learn how to use AI because and I'm sorry to the people who are more versed in AI. It may not be AI. I'm talking about ChatGPT. And I feel like there's different ways that people refer to it. And they're like, it's not AI. It's actually something else. I can't remember. I can't remember the other term. I'm sorry. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? Talk to
Mhm.
them. If you can't
Yeah.
talk to someone, talk to your AI, right? And you tell them what's going on. Describe to them what you have going on. Describe to them like what these are my next thoughts.
Mhm.
What do you think? Like
Yeah.
rate my next steps or provide next steps. But talk to someone. Talk like get it out there. Start like doing your this could also be called research.
Yeah. The old-fashioned way.
Right, the old-fashioned way. But start doing your research, you know. You can't just keep it up in your head. If you're feeling like you're at a dead end, like let people know that you feel like you're at a dead end. Let
Mhm.
someone know that you feel like I'm not taking the right steps or it's not going the way that I
Mhm.
what are your thoughts? Do you have any or how do you feel about this? Maybe you just need someone to reassure you that you are doing it.
Mhm.
You are doing a good job, right?
Yeah.
But you'll never come to you'll never get that response or any response if you don't open your mouth and say something or type it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah, and that kind of reminds me of networking a little bit. How important is networking in the job search process or
So
just like
important.
the process of figuring out what you want to do
It's
next?
so important. It's so important. Networking is not only one of my highest recommended ways of finding a job, but it's also one of my highest recommended ways to vet a job.
Mm.
So when we talk about doing your research, networking can also act as a form of research. You get to
Mhm.
talk to people who are actually in the industry that you want to get into or at the actual company, you
Mhm.
know, and they could tell you all the inside scoops that the job posting is not going to tell you.
Yeah, because they don't say it all.
They won't. Yeah, trust me. It's so funny. I was looking at a job post yesterday. I was with a client yesterday, and it was 3 bullet points, and I don't understand how it was 3 bullet points, and each bullet point was maybe 5 words or under. And I was just impressed at how well they were able to describe the fact that you are going to be either the executive director or the lead operations manager, right?
Mhm.
And they just to do that in 3 bullet points, and I left feeling like, okay, so I'm going to be running this building, or this person's expected to run this building, and they got
Yeah.
that down in 3 bullet points.
Yeah.
I love
Wow.
that. I
Yeah.
love that. But
Yep. Quick,
but
concise,
to
efficient.
exactly, but
Yeah.
only because I don't know. I don't know if it was me who was able to pick up on that. There's a part of me that feels like someone else may read those 3 bullet points and be like, "Oh, this is easy," and it's not. It was nothing easy that they were describing. They were literally telling you your job is to. It was a temple. Your job is to run the temple,
Yeah.
right? And I mean, yeah, that may sound easy, but you need to do your research. Like, how big is this
Hmm.
temple? Who, you know, this is
Yeah. What are all the things that come
all
along
the
with it?
things. So they made
Yeah.
it nice and short and sweet, but I knew that this was like a big undertaking, and I hope that other people are able to kind of see
Yeah.
that. I'm sorry, that was such like I don't even know what we were talking about. Oh, we were talking about all the networking and how
Yes.
speaking
Yeah.
to people, like if you were supposed to speak to someone at the temple, they were like,
Yeah.
listen.
Yeah. This is not is a 3 bullet point job. Just FYI.
Exactly.
That's
But there
so
you
funny.
go.
That reminds me. I saw a job posting so not too long ago, and I've never seen anything like it. And it really like hit me. I was like, this is incredible. But the job posting, it had the whole job description. I don't even remember what the job description was, to be honest with you, but it said what the company was looking for. And
Hmm.
it said, just be a good person. And I was like, I have never seen this ever
I
before.
love that.
Right? It was just, you could tell the culture, there was just something
Yes.
special about it. And they were
Yeah.
trying to build a really good culture. And the fact that they put that in their job description, I said, oh, this is something different. I got to keep my eye
Yeah.
on this company because I've never
Yeah.
seen anything quite like
I
that.
love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And even
Right?
something like that can also like deter or filter out the people, because there's going to be someone who reads that bullet point and is like, what the F does this mean? Or it's going to
Hmm.
bother someone. There's going to be
Yes.
people who are, yes, and you
Yes.
are not the person we're looking for.
It's like a dating app, but just like, all right, that's not for me. So swipe. Yeah.
Yes. And and this is like at no offense to that person, you know,
No.
maybe that person's just very type A, and they like
Hmm.
just be a good person. Like, I need you to
Yeah.
break this down. Like, what does
Hmm.
that mean, you know?
Yeah.
But to your point, yeah, that's awesome. I love that. Just be a good
Yeah,
person.
it was really different. So
I
I
love
definitely am
that.
seeing a lot of changes out there with what people are looking for, but also what companies are looking for too. And some
Right.
of it's really, really encouraging and inspiring.
I
So
love that.
I'm curious if you have any fun client stories or it's just stories of a client who maybe did get like, she's like, girl, I got stories for days. But of a client who, maybe had something unexpected happen to them and where they ended up, or any like success stories, just to inspire people who might be laid off right now or just not
Mm.
feeling great about their careers and give them a little hope or something to look to.
Um, yeah, I'm trying to think about which one I want to talk about.
There's too many.
There's so many. There's both success, there's both people who are like in the process of making something successful, right? And
Yeah.
but it's scary right now. Like, one
Hmm.
of my, and it's a client that I see on a weekly basis, just not at a good place. They are quitting, you know?
That's why, yeah.
But
It's a hard place to be.
it's just not fun. It's not fun.
Hmm.
That person needs a lot of support outside of just a coach. And I'm constantly reminding that to that person, like, make sure you're taking yourself for a walk, go see
Hmm.
some of your friends. Like,
Yep.
this is hard. What you're doing right now is hard, and I need you. You need a stronger support system other than just me and you. We're only speaking once a week. I need you to build up your support system so you can
Yeah.
get through this as effectively as possible, right? And when that person gets through it, I cannot wait. I get chills. I
Yeah.
get chills. I know we're going to hit something. We're going to hit something big.
Yeah.
Everything is in order. The industry that she's in right now, it moves very slow.
Mm.
And so, but we're going to hit something, and I'm just very excited for this person, and she deserves it. She
Yeah.
deserves it. So there's
I-
that current. I'm
yeah.
sorry. Did you say
No,
something?
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I
Oh,
was
no,
about
no.
to say that I'm sure like she's discouraged, but there's probably a lot of sneaky growth that's happening to her right now, and
So
she doesn't
much.
even realize it.
So much. So much. She's learning boundaries.
Mm-hmm. It's a big one.
She's learning how to put herself first, because her company is not the company, the leadership of the company, her direct leaders, like, they're not being nice. They're not.
That's
Yeah, the
hard.
culture is horrible, right? But in this horrible experience, she's learning how to get through it, and it's building her. Like, it's like,
Yep.
is she? I could only imagine the skill set that she's going to leave with, just going through this unfortunate experience. The skills that she's going to have and utilize in her next experience. And I hope that, it's only going to make the next experience that much smoother, because I'm hoping that we're going to jump into something that's more suited for her, and would lead to more longevity and just, again, more positivity, and et cetera, et
Mm-hmm.
cetera. But in the event that she does not, the next jump is not the final one, right?
Mhm.
We still have all these skills that we just developed.
Yeah.
We could, like, we're now able to kind of spot things a mile away. Like, we
Mhm.
just got a lot of training from this. So you could kind of see what's coming. And that's beauty in its own, right? Like,
Mhm.
the things that you could kind of see from a mile away, the things that you could
Yes.
tell, like, okay, this is reminding me of,
Mhm.
that, yeah, I could
Been
kind
here,
of
done
tell.
that.
Exactly. So let's either stop it before it gets worse. Let's
Mhm.
do some corrective actioning. Maybe it's something on you. Maybe it's something on your end, or whatever. Or sometimes you could support someone else. Like, maybe they're the
Mhm.
problem, but they need support in not being a problem anymore. No,
That's the thing.
seriously. Not
That's the
everyone has
thing.
a coach.
Yeah.
Not everyone has a coach. So there's I always tell this to my clients, like, you're also leaving here with, I want you to leave here with a sense of, what's the word? Responsibility for the
Yeah.
people around you. Like, I don't want this
Mm-hmm.
knowledge to just, knowledge is meant to be spread, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I have this knowledge. I'm giving it to you. You're becoming a better person. I need you to help this other person out too. And this other person may be the person who's making your day not the best right now, but I need you to
Yeah.
help them either come to that realization or help them help you,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which in many ways is helping them,
Yeah.
right? Whatever it is, but you have the tools. Start spreading it out. Start spreading it out. So,
Wouldn't the workforce be such a better place if we all did that culturally? Oh man.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yep. If we all shared and just tried to be better together.
I
Wow.
know,
Yep.
but it's especially when you are like, there's many times where my clients are individuals who have, supervisors, and their
Mm-hmm.
supervisors don't have coaches.
Yeah.
So it's very tricky to get this information and run it
Mm-hmm.
up.
Yep.
It's
Yeah, it's
it's
hard.
very tricky to manage up.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. You do your best to
What?
lead by example, but it doesn't
What?
always happen that
Yeah.
way. Yeah.
That's tough. So
Yes.
yeah, but listen, I still empower them to do it. You got to do it. You got to do it. Like, we're doing it for the greater good here. We're doing
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. And I love that you were describing, I actually really love that you told that story. I asked you for a success story and you gave me somebody who's in the thick of it. And I
Yeah.
think, isn't that the beautiful part? There's that Brene Brown quote that says something like the middle is messy, but like that's where the magic is.
Mhm.
It really is. And I know when you're in it, you just can't wait to get to the other side.
Mhm.
But then when you're on the other side, like we talked about, you have all these new assets and strength and resiliency. And I feel like you're so much better for it. So to
Right.
anybody listening, if you're in it right now and you are feeling lost or stuck, I just encourage you to just hang in there. You're
Yes.
in the beautiful mess right now.
Yes. And reflect on what you're learning, reflect on your
Hmm.
wins.
Yes.
And when I say reflect, I really mean like take a time to write it down,
Yeah.
or just, if you can't write it down, just take some time to think about it. But I really do
Hmm.
encourage you to write it down. That way you can look back and see all the stuff. And whether it's like task,
Hmm.
you did a new task, or something that may be annoying to you, like, my supervisor asked me to do something that I'm not supposed to be doing, but this is a new task. This is a growing opportunity. Write that
Hmm.
down. Write it down.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
you're either going to take that into your resume, or you could take that into a salary negotiation conversation,
Hmm.
right? But it's going to be a lot easier to recall these things if you write it down, and
Hmm.
then just for your own self growth, write it down so you could reflect on just how awesome you are and all the great things that you went through, that you came out on the other end, the things that you've learned, the skills that you've learned, like, come on. You're amazing, and you need to you need to reflect on just how amazing you are. Trust me, trust me, trust me. It will feel so good, and it would do you so good.
Love it. Circling back to those small wins again. Well, this has been an incredible conversation, Diamond. I'd like to close with one final question for you. Out of, all the years that you've been coaching, is there anything surprising or anything that you learned from coaching or from your clients that you take with you and you use in your
Yeah.
own life?
Yes. And it kind of, reference pretty much everything we just spoke about. But you and I had a conversation a few weeks ago about chasing happiness,
Mm,
right? And the dangers of chasing happiness, and being aware of, not being aware and embracing that middle ground between happiness and I guess you could say depression, or happiness and just the complete opposite of happiness, right?
yeah.
Many times we're in that middle space, and that's beautiful.
Mhm.
And that middle space is, I'm not at the job that I want to be at right now, but I'm not at the job that I used to be at, and I don't want to be
Mhm.
at that job anymore, right?
Yeah.
Or I'm not making as much as I want to make. However, I'm able to afford my bills. I do have
Mhm.
to kind of budget a little bit, but I'm getting through it.
Yeah.
Things are not on fire right now, right? I'm not in paradise, but I'm not on fire,
Yeah.
right? So just be, and I don't know which client or what session I had that we spoke about that, but whenever we did, it's just something that has stayed in my mind forever. And it's just, again, appreciate not being on fire honestly.
Yep.
Appreciate not being on fire. It's okay. We're making progress. We're taking action. We're going to get to that quote unquote happiness, that quote unquote paradise, or that quote unquote ideal job. We're going to get there, but where we are right now, it's okay. It's okay, guys. It's okay. So yeah, that's like honestly my parting words. It's
Yeah.
know that where you are right now is okay. It is okay.
That is great advice. Thank you. So for those who want to learn more about you and about Tailor Made Growth, where can they find you?
I do have a website, tailormadegrowth.com. It is under construction, but very accessible. You could, it's still there. You could pull it up. When I say under construction, it means that I have events and things that I've done that I have yet to like bring it over to the website, and pictures and things, and that's what I mean. But as far as like you reaching out or looking for support, you can absolutely go to tailormadegrowth.com, and we will get in contact with you.
Perfect. I will link that in the show notes. Well, Diamond, thank you again. This was such a great conversation. It was just all your tips and practical advice and wisdom. It was invaluable, and I'm sure so many people will benefit from it. And it was just great talking about careers as the journey that they are. It's just not a one-stop location.
Nope.
It's just regular growth, and we're all in it together. So I'm so grateful for this. I'm so grateful for you, and I wish you the best.
Thank you. And thank you guys for listening. This was awesome. Thanks so much, Jess.
Thank you. Thanks for listening to this episode of The Great Detour. If you like what you're hearing, I'd love if you could leave a rating or review wherever you listen to podcasts. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. If you have a detour story of your own, you can send it to mystory@thegreatdetour.com or shoot me a message at The Great Detour on Instagram. Thanks for taking this journey with me.